Hey, it's Mark from boatsandbikes.com, and today we're doing a comparison with the Wilderness Systems Tempest 170RM and the Necky Chatham 17RM. So, why these two boats and why only these two? Well, they're really the biggest guns from the biggest US conglomerates, and really, because they're so incredibly similar that they needed to be compared, but they're also kind of divinely different, so I thought we'd check it out a little bit. Now, there's a lot of great boats in the 17-foot performance tour category. Things like the Current Designs GTS, the P&H Scorpio, Valley, Tahe, they all make some great boats. But these two boats have been available for about a decade, and comparing the two really feels a little bit like those long-standing Ford-Chevy battles, sort of like a Mustang Camaro thing. So both the Chatham, which is the orange boat, and the Tempest, which is the yellow boat, come from a really distinguished full line of craft. So both of these boats are available in a 16-foot, a 17-foot, an 18-foot, and they can be built as plastic or composite. Now, the specs would indicate a really close lineage, and in fact, on paper, they appear to be the same. Both 17 feet long, the Tempest being 22 inches wide, and the Chatham at only 21, but they both have that drop skeg with the slider next to the cockpit. They're also shallow V-boats with symmetrical or fish form hull designs. Now, weight of the boats are in about the mid-60s, and so about 60-65 pounds, and the capacity for hauling is about the mid-3 to 350s. So really, really similar. But that's where the differences begin to fade. See, the most noticeable difference is Necky's more pronounced upswept bow and upswept stern as well as a bit of additional hull rocker, or that banana shape curviness from bow to stern. The Tempest, on the other hand, has a little bit flatter, lower, pointier bow, and knowing from past experience, it does tend to plow a little bit and kind of cut through waves, where the Chatham really likes to climb over the rough conditions. But where the Necky has that high bow and a little tip up in the stern, you'll also notice that it drops quickly in the bow to a lower foredeck and stern deck when compared to the Tempest. So the advantage to the Chatham is that there's almost no noticeable wind interference. But the advantage of the Tempest higher deck is more storage space. So Necky added an oversized oval bow hatch where most boats, really the Tempest included, use this smaller round deck opening. So the bigger opening on the Necky helps gain access, but the Wilderness is still more packable. Now, I found the cockpits on both to be quite adequate, and again, the paddling position is quite similar in location and feel and spaciousness, but I'd have to say the Tempest had an advantage in comfort with that fantastic Phase 3 system, and still, after a few hours in the saddle, the Chatham was perfectly fine and I was ready for more. Now, the hull designs are similar with some minor but notable differences. See, the Tempest has a slightly rounder chine, and that chine starts a bit further inboard than the Chatham. Remember, the Chatham is 1 inch narrower overall, 1 inch narrower beam, but the Tempest starts its chine curve somewhere at about a half inch or so further in on both sides than the Chatham does. So the result is that the functional hull planes are about equal on both boats, but there's definitely a difference in ride and performance. So as far as general stability, the boats are about the same, and really both are quite adequate for the width, but the difference is really in edging the boat. And Necky's more defined chine gives it a bit of a needle balance point when it's up on edge. And once you cross that line, it will definitely punish you. So you can really revel in the boat's edging ability, and it does respond faster to edging than the Tempest does. But of course, too much of a good thing and you're swimming. The Tempest, on the other hand, is very forgiving on edge. It can really sit on its heels comfortably all day, which is good because it takes more of that day to actually change direction. So here's sort of what we didn't notice. The difference in speed, or the difference in acceleration, wasn't as pronounced as we would have thought. You know, all the paddlers agreed that the Tempest accelerated quicker and had a better straight line efficiency, but it was really by a nominal amount. Now, keep in mind, we didn't do actual speed testing, and we have no quantifiable way to back up the claim, but the bottom line is, we felt a difference to the Tempest's advantage when it came to speed, but we really expected the Necky's added rocker to give up more speed than it did. They're really pretty close. So, what's the bottom line? Well, they're both world-class boats and capable of long tours, rough water, surfing, workouts. For packing a lot and for outright speed, long-term butt comfort, you gotta go with the Wilderness Systems. But if you paddle a lot of rough water, if you like to surf, or you prefer playfulness and quick handling, the Chatham is the better choice. Thanks for listening, and hope to see you on the water. Wake up, wake up, wake up.